Liverpool Fan in Japan.
Hello YouTube, Liverpool Fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki Man Si. Alexander Isak has finally released an official statement. He snubbed the PFA team ceremony. He made that team, by the way, and he said it wouldn't be right for him considering everything going on that he make an appearance there. Now, he said there were promises broken to him from Newcastle, and it wasn't just lately, it's been long in the making. He actually forewent contract talks to allow Newcastle to renew other players in the season, noting that he was going to get remunerated with a lucrative new contract at Newcastle or allowed to leave. Now, they did not offer him the new contract as expected at the start because the management of Newcastle changed with Amanda Staveley having gone as well and the sporting director. They didn't see any need to, considering he's on a long-term contract, and he did sign that contract, so Newcastle are within their rights to hold him to that as well. But he was promised he could leave for pastures new, but Newcastle's incompetence in signing new strikers, they got rejected by Benjamin Sesko, Hugo Ekitike, João Pedro, Liam Delap, and many, many more. So they're looking at Yohan Wissa, who are holding them to ransom as well. They want at least 50 million. They'll probably bargain around 40 million and getting Wissa in. Could he be the new Demba Ba or Papis Demba Cisse? Them Dembas though. Yes, but that does mean that Alexander Isak is in a precarious situation because he is now in no man's land because Newcastle want 150 million for him. Liverpool bid 110 million. Apparently, Michael Edwards flew out to Boston, FSG's hometown again, to get the 130 million rubber stamped and approved to make another bid next week. So there's expectations that Liverpool will go in with a bid again. Newcastle have responded to Alexander Isak's official statement by saying, look, in light of this official statement, there's no way we can let you leave now, which makes no sense whatsoever. So they're holding on to a player who doesn't want to be there, who won't give his all in the match day, who's not training with the first team, who's not match fit, hasn't had a proper preseason as well. For the sake of holding to a striker, is this the right way to go for Newcastle? For the fact that he might not give his all, he might half-arse it, he might not play well, he might be injured, might have the sad back syndrome that we saw with Coutinho as well, right? So really, getting any striker, in my opinion, is better than having a half-arsed Alexander Isak in there, unless they're doing it for pride, because obviously they don't really need it for financial fair play, but they're going to lack numbers up front. Even if Yohan Wissa comes in here, they got Osulu in the background, and he's not really Premier League proven or match ready either. So in that regards, they're calling a potential Premier League world record bid of 120 to 130 million derogatory and not good enough, which is absolutely insane and bizarre considering they could reinvest that, although they will get fleeced for these prices. So they're after Strand Larsen at Wolves at the moment, and Wolves would be loath to lose another quality player because they've been absolutely stripped bare as well, with Ait Nori having left the season and Cunha as well. So yes, I don't know. Newcastle are a shambles, and Eddie Howe, as good as a man manager he is no sporting director and have shot themselves in the foot and sabotaged their own season. But saying that though, they did well in a 0-0, 0-0 draw with Aston Villa, even though Aston Villa were reduced to 10 men, Ezri Konsa having received a red card for hauling down Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon's a quality player, but he ain't no number 9, yo. And Newcastle are in the mires because they've wanted to strengthen and rebuild and actually force their way into the reckoning, into the Champions League places again this season, having squeaked in last season. But Alexander Isak has clearly stated the broken promises cannot be mended. There's no way for him to remain at Newcastle or to play for Newcastle again. And with that in mind, if the owners do hold on to him, it's a publicity stunt and he will go in January as well. So what would be the point in holding on to a striker that you can barely play and is refusing to reintegrate as well, even though Eddie Howe left the door open? And when you put everything together and deduce it, there is no real logic behind it. It's posturing until after the Newcastle match, where it can go two ways. Newcastle win and say, look, we can do it without Alexander Isak against the champions, against Liverpool, against the big evil, because they have painted Liverpool as the big evil in this whole scenario. But Liverpool have done nothing wrong here. We made our interest clear in Isak. Everyone knew we were interested in Isak. We made a world record bid for Isak, and we respected Newcastle by not pushing the issue and waiting for them to resolve their striking situation before we come in with another bid. Liverpool do not have to bid. They owe Newcastle nothing. Isak is unsettled, but Liverpool are trying what they can to get him out of there. But Newcastle, at the same time, don't have to accept a bid. They don't need to be strong-armed and jiu-jitsu, Kimura-locked arm behind the back. They can do what they want to do with their player. He's under contract, so they can accept a bid. They can refuse a bid. They can stake their claims that he's worth 150 million and will accept nothing less. But if they say he's worth 150 million, The market dictates how much he's worth. So if someone's willing to bid that, then he's worth 150 million. If no one's willing to bid that, then, well, no one is willing to bid that, and you don't get a bid, and you keep onto the player. But you're keeping a player who's unhappy and unwilling to reintegrate and unwilling to get you the funds to reinvest in the strikers as well. It's illogical. It's just stubbornness. So Liverpool do need a striker. We do need a forward. Look at our forward line at the moment. If you're looking at that 9 position, it's Hugo Ekitike, and the line behind him is Will Wright, Jayden Danns, potentially Federico Chiesa as well. Salah can't play 9. He'll never, ever, ever play 9. Gakpo doesn't like to play 9. He's okay at it. We lost Nunez. We lost, unfortunately, Diogo Jota. We lost Luis Diaz as well. So the line behind Ekitike looks slightly thin unless you're expecting Soboslai or Wirtz in a false 9 role, which is not the ideal position. You can play with dual 10s on occasion, but you really, really need someone to link up the play. Look at the difference Hugo Ekitike makes when he's on the pitch, and that's clear for all to see already, right? So all being told, Alexander Isak, in my opinion, moves after the Newcastle match, and they come to an agreement, 120, 130 million clauses included or add-ons, it doesn't matter. But it's in everyone's best interest to wrap this up. Liverpool need a striker. Newcastle need to get over this saga and get their 2 strikers in. If they can get Strand Larsen, if they can get Wisa in, it makes the loss of Isak more bearable, more tenable. But then again, they were targeting Sesko, Cunha, Delap, João Pedro, the big names, and they end up with Strand Larsen, and Wisa is a bit of a step down. It's like them Dembers all over again. But that's Newcastle's level, really, isn't it? And they've now put a message out to all prospective players that we're going to hold you to ransom. You can't use Newcastle as a stepping stone, nor should they. But they're saying that if we promise that you can leave, if you put in good performance, if you help us win a cup, help us have the best cup run for many, many a season, absolutely dominate in the league with pure quality that Alexander Isak has already done, we're not going to grant you a move. You're not going to get you a big move to do Barcelona, your Real Madrid, your Liverpool, your Bayern Munich, even your Arsenal. We're going to hold you here because you're under contract. We're not going to let you leave. And now that they've seen how difficult it is to leave Newcastle, they're not going to get that caliber of player. That's why Brighton keep getting the Caicedo, even the Bissouma back in the day, Carlos Baleba, the Kaoru Mitoma, because they know that if they put in a good performance and someone stumps up the cash, then Brighton are willing to sell Baleba at 100 million, and he could potentially be worth it as well. If you do not let your players leave, then that caliber of players who want to grow and prove that they can do it in the Premier League to get that move to a big club, they won't move to you. And Newcastle, with aspirations of being a Champions League mainstay, fair play. They want to grow, but they're not at the stage where they can hold on to the top cream of the crop. Now, speaking of cream of the crop, this channel is a channel of substance and abundance. This is the cream of a crop.
The cream of the crop!
And a massive 53.9% of you watch my videos week in, week out as subscribers, which means 46.1% of you watch it but haven't hit the subscribe button yet. What are you waiting for? We're going to do great things this season with Tommy Boy on the chest and the Liver Bird on the head. So smash that subscribe button. It'd really make my day. Like this video as well, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts on where Alexander Isak will end up. Will Newcastle's statement hold up? It's almost like that Felipe Coutinho ordeal where we said no matter what, he is not going for sale, whereas Newcastle have actually intimated that the conditions have not been met for Alexander Isak to leave Newcastle, which means there are conditions for him to leave. They just haven't been met yet, which means there's an opening still available and there's much time in the transfer window, especially because I heard in the Discord the transfer window is running out. What are Liverpool doing? Liverpool had the best window of all time, baby. What are you talking about? What are we doing? We know exactly what we're doing. We've got Slick, Rick, and Michael Edwards at the helm, and the shiny one up the shiny one, leading the way. And why I think Isak has plenty of time to roll on is because the Newcastle match is yet to come, right? And then for the transfer to go through, you need 3 things to be true. The player has to accept the contract, the wages, and be willing to move. The agent has to accept that his player wants to move and be ready to sign the contract and do the paperwork. And the selling club have to be willing to sell at a price point that the bidding club bid for as well. Alexander Isak wants to come. The agent wants Alexander Isak to come. He was at Anfield, for goodness sakes, man. And it's only Newcastle who have to accept a transfer fee, trying to save face, a publicity stunt to make sure that the Newcastle fans are placated for a season that's in the mire already. And I'm not talking about Kieran Dyer smashing Lee Bowyer, smashing each other, and not smashing in a sexual way either, because that's an awful sight. It's not even redeemable like Marlon Harewood smashing Jill Scott. Good old Roy Keane. Yes, speaking of which, punditry in the UK, especially in Sky Sports with Paul Merson and the likes, it's gone downhill. So yes, full credit to Alexander Isak, right? He kept his mouth quiet until no more could be told to slander his character assassination. This is about him redeeming the truth and putting to light that Newcastle promised him the fact that he can move on gracefully. It's just they failed to get replacements and now they are scrambling, absolutely scrambling, trying to paint him in a bad light, trying to paint Liverpool in a bad light. But what Guan, mates, it's so obvious what has happened here. Like, no need for any deception. Liverpool put a bid in, and now they've respectively withdrawn their position to wait for Alexander Isak to try to force the issue for the fact that Liverpool can't do anything more. If Newcastle show a willingness to bargain at a sensible 120, 130 million pounds, then all's good, all's grand. Isak gets his move. We get our striker. Can he actually displace Hugo Ekitike, who started like a man on fire? Hugo Boss, big Hugo Ekitike, baby. I don't know. Yes, let's see what happens. But actually, Mark Guay is the more important signing because we do need security and comfort in the fact that Ibu Konate hasn't signed that new contract. We've offered him new terms. Let's see what happens. It'd be crazy to lose Konate at this point in the transfer window. But Mark Guay coming in could soften the blow. He'd also be a long-term solution next to Virgil van Dijk. He covers the ground exponentially well. Giovanni Leone will come in. He absolutely bottled Lukaku. Bodied him. So he will have a part to play in the cup games as well. And look, 3 points on the board. It's all about racking up them points, baby. Getting the points on the board. And if we do that against Newcastle, we're well underway into the Newcastle-Arsenal doubleheader, where we might turn over Arsenal, which is a 6-point swing at Anfield. I will do the Newcastle preview tactically on the board, on all different formats of boards, and show you where Newcastle have vulnerabilities, but also where Newcastle can hurt Liverpool and how we can overcome those deficiencies to make sure we go away with all 3 points at St. James's Park and make them cry them delicious salty tears. Smash a like. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below on Alexander Isak's situation. PFA Team of the Year. Well done, Isak, baby. You look good in red. Let's round off this transfer window in style with Mark Guay and Alexander Isak to make it the 11 out of 10 transfer window of our dreams. I told you FSG would sign at least 6 players in the window. We've absolutely smashed that with quality and substance in abundance. I have full faith that it'll get done because Newcastle can't hold on to a bad player who might not turn up on the day and might not perform anyway. And he's broken relationships with the inner circle, mainly because they have gone back on their promise with him. And as a man of integrity, intensity, and intelligence, myself I'm talking about, but also Isak, you love to see that Liverpool's the only one for Isak and Liverpool's the only one for Mark Guay, having rejected bids from Newcastle and Tottenham for Mark Guay anyway. So, yes, good times to be a Red. It's fun to see drama unfolding that's not at your club, right? With that Coutinho bad back ordeal and the Mascherano injury ordeal, trying to force his move his way in, and Luis Suarez down tooling as well. Finally, we are well run, well strung, and we'll be there as number 1. Premier League Champions, retaining number 21 and rightfully knocking that little club Man United off their perch, looking up at the glorious Anfield Red. Until next time, Miyazaki Man Japan, it means the best. Join the YouTube Liverpool Fan Japan membership. A cheeky £2 a month gets you loads of exclusive content as well and exclusive posts. And my eternal gratitude. Until next time, Jane means ciao.